This is a review on how to get the most out of your TIG torch switch. I'm using one of my favorite cups here on carbon steel, nice and clean metal, great gas shielding with a really large shielded area. Makes TIG welding a lot of fun. I love the Jazzy 10 ceramic as an all-around cup for carbon steel, chromoly, stainless steel, great coverage. But if you got to do a bunch of small tack welds, maybe switch to a number 4, save some gas. I borrowed a couple of my wife's ponytail holders here. That's a real easy way to hold the switch on. But with a really short stick out and a number 4 cup, it makes tack welding really easy with the trigger. Sometimes you can do it without filler metal. If you got a little gap, you're going to need filler metal, but you don't have to drag the foot pedal all around. And when you're finished with all your tack welds, you switch over to the Jazzy 10 again. I'm trying to stay organized here by keeping this in the drawer instead of a drawer full of miscellaneous cups. This is my go-to for carbon steel and stainless. The reason is you get a lot better shielding than you do with a number 8, and it doesn't even require any more gas. Now, if I just wanted to have an on-off switch with no upslope or downslope, or with a foot pedal, I'd have it set on 2T. 4T means 4 touches, and I'm switching it over to 4T, and I'm going to have upslope and downslope that way. So going all the way over to the start current, I'm going to bottom it out to have a low amp start. I'm going to turn the upslope just to a couple of seconds. That means it'll take 2 seconds to go from the start current up to my operating current, which is 105. I'll set the downslope at about 2 seconds also. That means it'll take 2 seconds to go from the operating current down to the end current, which I'll also set to 0. 4T stands for 4 touches, so the first touch starts the arc. And nothing happens here other than I start the arc. Then when I let go, it ramps up to the max current. That's touch 2, and I leave it there while I'm welding. Touch 3 is press it again. It begins the downslope toward the end amp setting. I let go. That's touch 4. That ends the arc. So you get a little bit of control, but not quite as much as a foot pedal. I'm going to throw a TIG finger on here because I'm going to try to make this long run with one pass and not stop. And I'm going to glide along. This is a fire pit that I built from a previous video, but it's an outside corner joint. Good opportunity to show the torch switch and the 4T mode. I'm traveling along at a pretty good clip here using a 332 filler, so I don't have to feed like crazy. That's not a perfect fit that I would like on a corner joint. It's kind of overlapped a little bit, so I'm wrapping that corner a little bit, adding very little filler wire. And then coming up here, I've got a little bit better fit. This is what I like to see, is a corner to corner, and that's going in a little bit nicer. And that's what I like, but you don't always get that. This is my signature TIG like Meg look. Okay, we already know I used 105 amps and a torch switch, but here are the rest of the settings in case you want to pause and write something down. The way I knew that 105 amps would work good is because I've done several other videos on 11 gauge outside corner joints. This is one with a Jazzy 10 clear, but I was right at 105 amps for this one too. So why wouldn't that work on a fire pit? Now I was using a foot pedal here, but I had a camera on the amperage readout on the machine. It was right at 105 amps. Right here at the end, kind of almost got away from me there. Add a little extra filler and back in. That's a technique that I like to use on ends. Settings for that were almost identical except for using 1/16 filler on that ER70S6. Let's take another look at another joint here. Same joint, just in the flat position. Really no difference in how you weld it. I mean, technically one's a 1F, one's a 2F, but there is no difference in how you would weld them. This one I'm using a Furic 8 Pro clear cup because that helps me film a lot. It really lights up everything and helps me get a good arc shot, helps me see where I'm going. My eyes are not as young as they used to be. You can watch the edges of that one, just barely wrapping those corners. And the same thing here, I've tried to back off the heat just about 2 dabs before I get to the end and then back inward, taper off. Like I said, I mostly use a foot pedal for the extra control, but you can use the 4T settings with the upslope and downslope to get a certain amount of control on those ends. This is my online store at weldmonger.com. It's how I support these videos. If you're interested in any of the stuff, any of the gear that I used in this video, go to weldmonger.com. I will put the link in the description. Thanks so much for watching and thanks for your support.